Meteorologist Mark Molnar. Thank you for joining me for this edition of Weather Northeastern. Let's get right into the forecast. We're going to look at factors here, starting with later Wednesday, especially into Thursday and Friday. We're watching a big, strong, low-pressure system ejecting out of the midpoint of the country here, mid-Mississippi River Valley, and heading northeastward. It will drag a big, sharp cold front along with it, especially Friday. But out ahead of it, we'll get well up into the 60s and 70s, even as far north as the Northeast here. We'll have that severe weather outbreak here ongoing here across portions of the Mississippi River Valley, stretching east and northeastward towards Thursday and Friday, especially Friday along the Appalachians, a marginal threat from Pennsylvania all the way southward into the southern southeast here. And for that matter, we're going to be looking at a lot of jet dynamics with the system and the first taste of some real spring weather here across the east. But the big story will be severe weather here, especially across the south, where we'll see damaging wind, large hail, and tornadoes, a big possibility here, stretching from places like northeast Texas, Arkansas, stretching over towards Mississippi, Alabama, all the way eastward. Damaging wind, large hail threat here, extending especially towards Thursday and Friday, towards the Appalachians here. Let's get right into a viewer sent in video here. John from Islip, New York, South Bay Bridge near Fire Island, cruising along here on the roadway. Very nice video here. Thank you, John. Take a look at that. Just cruising along the South Bay Bridge. So very nice capture, John. And take a look at, I have another clip it here from Lucas, his dashboard cam as well. Just cruising along here on the roadways. So very nice. I've been showing you a little bit each weather segment. So thank you, John and Lucas, for those videos. Let's get right into the forecast, starting off with your precipitation amounts. We're kind of quieting down a little bit out west here. You've had a very stormy go of it here, especially the middle to latter portion of this winter. But back east here, especially from the plains, Mississippi River Valley, up towards the Appalachians and the Northeast, this is where we'll see widespread 1 to 2 inch amounts, locally higher towards 3 inches possible. And here is that weather pattern. We're going to dig a trough behind this main system, but out ahead of it, big ridge develops, pushing all that warm air northeastward, well up into portions of the Northeast, Mid-Atlantic, and New England. Want to make note, the North Atlantic Oscillation Index way up here, kind of off your screen, going crazy, going positive, meaning lack of blocking and ridging developing here in eastern North America. It's not good for people who really like snowfall, so we're not really looking at much in the way of snow. But there you have it, there's the pattern. Here's my snowfall map, particularly for the Northeast and parts of New England. Very much void of snow. This takes us through about late Saturday. Not really looking at anything Wednesday, Thursday, or Friday. It's later Saturday. We might have some lake response off Lake Erie, Lake Ontario behind that sharp cold front that moves through later Friday. But for the most part, we're not looking at anything blockbuster. Very disorganized bands of snowfall. And ice amounts, here you go. Not really looking much in the way of ice accumulation either. Not really having any warm air overcutting any cool air at the surface. So let's get right into that forecast for your Wednesday across the Northeast. We're slowly going to start to warm things up here. We might start cracking 40 across portions of Pennsylvania, into portions of New York State here into southern New England. But for the most part, this will probably be our last day where it feels a little bit like winter. And then here it is, Thursday. We'll start out with sunshine, some increasing clouds as a warm front pushes in from the southwest. We'll start to see some aerial coverage of showers developing. But for the most part, temperatures remain pretty nice here across the region. We'll start to warm up. We'll push those 40s to the northeast. We'll get to the 50s in places like Interstate 80 in Pennsylvania, especially on southward here, and 60 towards places like Pittsburgh, Harrisburg, and Philadelphia. And then for your Friday, that front ejects from the mid-Mississippi River Valley, moves northeastward rapidly, a sharp cold front. We may have some strong thunderstorms here across portions of central and eastern Pennsylvania, southern New Jersey. So we'll watch for that. It's not going to be a widespread outbreak, but damaging wind would be the main threat with this system, as it has a lot of dynamics to work with. Further north towards Binghamton, Syracuse, more of a rainfall threat. maybe some gusty winds, but temperatures really the big story, getting up well up into the 60s, all the way north to the New York State Thruway. Look at this, all the way northeastward into New England as well, and maybe some places here in central and southern and southeastern Pennsylvania, portions of New Jersey towards New York City may crack 70 degrees, so it'll feel more like spring here. But behind this front, cold air advection kicks in from the west and northwest, and will cool those temperatures down into Saturday, looking much more blusterier and wintry across the region. But this is pretty much on target for the temperatures that you would expect for this time of year. So even behind the cold front, we're not looking at anything frigid, although it will feel a lot colder, especially after a day in the 60s and 70s, and northwest winds howling out of the northwest at 15 to 25 miles per hour. We'll have those proverbial lake effect snow bands off Lake Erie and Lake Ontario as well, maybe up to a couple inches, but we're not looking at anything major. So there you have it, my extended outlook for my hometown viewers from Binghamton to Scranton's upper Susquehanna region of upstate New York and northeast Pennsylvania, all points in between from Binghamton all the way to Oswego, Sayre, Appalachian, southward towards Towanda, and Wilkes-Barre, Scranton. Take a look at this. Stretching from your Wednesday, we'll start that warming trend into Thursday, cracking up towards the upper 40s, lower 50s into Friday. Look at this. Showers, maybe a rumble of thunder, especially across northeast Pennsylvania, where you might have a stronger storm possible towards the Wilkes-Barre, Scranton area. Temperatures getting well up into probably the upper 60s. That'll be the big story, but watch. Cold front comes through later in the afternoon, early evening, as most of the rainfall will be out by then. Into your Saturday and Sunday, look at that. Things turn wintry, but pretty much near normal temperatures, to say the least. So we'll have some scattered snow showers in the forecast. That'll do it for this edition of Weather Northeastern. Don't forget to like me on Facebook at MeteoMark, subscribe to me on YouTube at MeteoMark Comments, Twitter at WX Northeastern, Google Plus at MeteoMark. Thanks for joining me for this edition of Weather Northeastern.